This is John Black, Super Chemist. This is part 2. I really was just going to make one video, part 1, and I spent 20 hours reading up on string theory, and another 20 hours, half of that next 20 hours, I watched documentaries or whatever, or people in that field were talking about it, real people. And the other half of that second 20 hours, I went online, like YouTube, and just talked to people or watched videos and see what people were saying, just regular people. Then I realized this is totally nuts. Okay, so I need to put some more. I'm probably going to have this video and another one, just postulates. Now, most of them are stupid, but they have to be said. No double negatives. Stop that. Okay. I can't, even as a child, if someone would start telling me, you want to play chess, do you want to be the white guys and the non-white guys, I'd call them out. If my teacher started using words like non-zero value, hey, you know what, this orange has non-zero value. What the? No, this orange has value means the same thing, but when I say this orange has value, you understand instantly. Oh, that orange has value. I say that orange has non-zero value. You have to think about it. Like, what does that mean, non-zero? What? It's a double negative, okay, or it's similar to it, or whatever. It's confusing, okay. They have, instead of saying acceleration, they say non-zero acceleration. Hey, when you change your velocity, you'll have some non-zero acceleration. Why wouldn't they just say when you change your velocity, you accelerate? It makes no sense. There's non-zero value, non-zero velocity, non-zero acceleration. There's a whole bunch of these non-zero words. The non-zero, you just take it out and it has the same meaning. So why are you doing it? Same way with the non-inertial frames and the non-accelerating. They're not non-inertial. They're accelerating. Because in an accelerating frame, everything accelerates when you drop it. Yeah. In an inertial frame, everything stays inertial when you drop it, meaning it just floats. Makes sense, right? Accelerating frames accelerate. Inertial frames stay inertial. But you call it non-inertial and non-accelerating, it makes it confusing. Right? That's stupid. Okay? Stop calling blue non-red. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. Okay? You're a freak doing that. Call these people out and make them stop doing this crap. Non-Euclidean this and non. Double negatives are stupid. And anyone that does it or doesn't call them out, you're stupid too. Okay, you're a moron. If you're calling value non-zero value, you're a moron. Number 2 here. No amount, okay, not even an infinitive number of zeros equals something other than 0. I can't believe I have to say this, but they're saying you get it. There's that point there, right? It's a dimensionless point having 0 length, right? So if you get a whole bunch of them, even if you have an infinitive number of them and you line them up together, they're saying that you'll have a line with length. But each one of those dots represents 0 length. And I don't care if you have an infinitive number of 0 lengths. If you add them up, you're going to end up with 0 length. You're not going to magically just have length. This is insane. Okay? Right? So you don't magically get length by adding dimensionless points together. Because if you believe that, I have a good deal for you. You give me $100 today, and every second, not every day, not every week, or month, no. Every second of my life until I die, I will give you $0. That's a lot of money at the end of the day. I'm gonna, if I live 10 years. No, you're going to say no because $0 plus $0 plus $0 is $0. And 0 length plus 0 length equals, guess what? Guess what, kids? It equals 0 length. And if you stack these up here, right, these lines that only have one dimension, right, they have no width, okay? See, you can stack them up on top of each all day long, man. If they have each one of these lines has 0 width, you're going to have an infinitive number of them. You're still going to have 0 width. 0 width plus 0 width equals 0 width. Right? Oh, and that's what these are. Like, same here. And you put that into, put these 2D planes on top of each other. And none of the planes have height, but it's gonna turn into a 3D object. No. 0 height plus 0 height plus 0 height equals 0 height. Okay. I can't believe I have to say this. All right. A two-dimensional object, okay, is an image. Like the only really true two-dimensional object is a shadow, and you notice the shadow isn't real. It's the lack of light that forms an image. So what is a two-dimensional object? It's an image. It's a mathematical construct. Same as a surface, length, color. You know, these are all adjectives, right? Color is all these things are mathematical constructs. Okay. And mathematical constructs, yes, sometimes they are real, but most times all they are is mathematical representations of something, right? They're math adjectives. There's no such thing as a dimension. Dimensions are adjectives. They're mathematical constructs. Same as the surface, length, color, pretty, big, tall. Okay. You can't contract length because length is an adjective. That means an adjective is a word. Okay, it's not a thing. Okay, an adjective is a word that describes. Okay, it's not a thing that can be contracted. Okay, just like this phone. Right. Now look when I do this. The length got smaller, didn't it? The length contracted. But length isn't a description. So obviously the length didn't contract. Your perspective, your perception, your frame of reference, okay, got shorter. Okay, not the length. Okay. The length is the same. But when it's here, it's big, the length, right? Here the length is small, right? So it's true. That is the length. That's the length you see. When they say your frame of reference is valid, yeah, because mathematically, yes, it got shorter. It did contract, but it's just a mathematical, it's just your frame of reference. You know, it's just your perception from your frame of reference. As you can see, it didn't actually contract. Your vision of it contracted, okay? Because, if you shrink or contract a tall man, okay, does the tall shrink or does the man shrink? The man shrinks. You know why? Because a man is a noun. Tall is an adjective. It doesn't exist. It's a descriptive word, okay? So, same thing. Higher dimensions do not exist. This is the third one here, fourth maybe. They do not exist, okay, except, yes, they exist as mathematical constructs. A fourth dimension can only be orthogonal to two dimensions. So by definition, it's a mathematical construct because it's not orthogonal to all three dimensions. So that, yeah, see, when they say they put the time dimension on the graph or whatever, right? And up is down and this is your space. Yeah, they take one of the spatial dimensions off in order to put the time dimension on. So that proves right there it's not real. It's a mathematical construct. Because why did you take one of the dimensions off? Yeah, a dimension is an adjective. Okay, there's no dimension. There's no pretty dimension. There's no big dimension. There's no tall dimension, and there's no higher dimensions. Okay, that's a mathematical construct. They can't exist because you can't. Oh my God, it's all. Dimensions are just a arbitrary thing that we assign. Those, the X, Y, Z thing that we make, we put them, that isn't in space. We create that. It's made up in our minds. And if I made one of those things with X, Y, Z, and then you right now go to your table or whatever, do an X, Y, Z thing, they won't line up with mine. Your dimensions won't be pointing in the same exact direction. My x-axis isn't going to be pointing the way your x-axis is. My y-axis and z-axis is not going to point the way yours is, right? So that proves they're not real. They're just we're arbitrarily assigning them so that we can, describe things on the graph, right? We can describe how far apart they are and all that kind of thing. But it's just a dimension is an adjective, okay? A dimension is a freaking adjective. You can't visit adjectives. They don't exist. Adjectives are not things, okay? And this string theory, this is my next postulate. String theory is garbage. It is based on imaginary 2D worlds and imaginary higher dimensions, okay? Now, I used to believe in higher dimensions, okay, a couple months ago. Yeah, no, not now, no. It's insane. Especially after reading up on string theory, this is insane, okay? These people actually think that you can put, something that has no height, and you just stack a bunch of stuff on top of each other, and they magically have height, okay? They think that time is the fourth dimension. We've already proved time is not a dimension. It's a result of moving through space, right? Atoms have to talk to each other by throwing photons to each other, okay? All physics relies on atoms throwing photons to each other, even acceleration, right? So when you move, your synapses, right, they want to talk to each other, they throw photons to each other. But if you're moving and your synapses, these are your two synapses, the thumb here, it throws out a photon, but now you're moving. So now instead of having to move this long to get to the top finger, right, it throws out a photon. Now it has to go at this angle, which is longer, okay? And so information is slowed down. Time is not slowed down. Information is slowed down in all physics, things that happen. Metabolic rate, electronics, your thinking. Yeah, it's not that time slows down. It's just information for any kind of physics experiment or physics to happen. You have to have photons being thrown around from atom to atom, right? And if you're moving, you're making the photon move a longer distance to give you that information. It's just like turning, oh my God, it's just like if you have a movie going, right? And I turn the speed up so you get, on a projector so that you can see the movie faster, right? Yeah, if I turn up the information flow so that it's faster, yeah, everything goes faster in that frame of reference, which would be the movie, right? And if I slow it down, I slow the information down that you get by slowing down the projector, yeah, it time dilates. Gee, who would have thought? So it's not that time is a dimension or time slows down. No, you're putting more distance in between all the information carriers that do the physics, that make physics possible. Okay, and holographic theory and black hole theory is probably wrong too. Black hole theory, if you watch my exposing Astro Kobe about black holes, you'll see these people, they think that black holes, nothing can fall in a black hole. You just fall down to the, I guess the disk, and you just, stay there forever. Bull. That is such a lie. Okay, I haven't looked into holographic theory at all, but I'm pretty sure they're going to say the same thing about these dimensions. Anyone who tells you that two dimensions exist, a two-dimensional universe, a shadow is literally is a real two-dimensional object. Do you think there's shadow universes? No, shadows don't exist. They're images. Okay, like what the hell? They're adjectives, man. So let's see what else. Not all math constructs are true. See, this thing of string theory, okay, they base it on the lie about the 2D stuff, then they base it on the lie about, Einstein never said time was a dimension. Actually, he said that there was no time and no space. There was only 3 space-time dimensions, you know what I mean? So he never said that, but they say, oh, since this 4th dimension of time, then we could have unlimited, just like gender theory. You can have an unlimited amount of higher planes, just like genders. And it's unlimited, okay? And what's funny is, you have in this universe, they say that we can see